Today's guest is Eileen Nauman, who is a worldwide lecturer and pioneer on a broad range of topics, including homeopathy, medical astrology, metaphysics, and shamanism. She is also a New York Times best-selling author under the pen name Lindsay McKenna, having written more than 225 novels translated into 33 languages and selling over 23 million copies worldwide. She has helped to popularize Uranian astrology through webinars and her best-selling book, Medical Astrology. She is collaborating with an international group of homeopaths to create collective healing for humanity through global proving projects. Now, at 77 years old, Eileen continues to be a global trailblazer, bridging the wisdom traditions of the past with a more enlightened Aquarian Age vision for our planet and our future. You can find out more about Eileen at www.walkingtheland.net, which is also the name of one of her incredible books, Walking the Land. So check out www.walkingtheland.net. So while you're there, be sure to subscribe to Eileen's newsletter, where she's going to be sharing a lot of great information in the coming months. And all of her books can be purchased through Amazon. There will be more episodes with Eileen coming up on the Homeopathy Hangout podcast in the next few weeks. Eileen is on a mission to help raise our collective consciousness by teaching all of us many of the healing tools she has learned over many decades. She is doing this free of charge through her newly set up YouTube channel. It's just starting up now, so be sure to subscribe so that you can keep in touch and be notified whenever she's putting up a new video. So just go to youtube.com/at Eileen Nauman 2329. So that's EILEENNAUMAN 2329. You'll find her channel there. Click the subscribe button so you don't miss out on a thing. Eileen has also agreed to make many of her amazing resources available free of charge through my website, while she's getting her own website and her YouTube channel set up and populated with more information. So you can also check out eugeniecruger.com/Eileen to download many of the resources she has gifted free of charge. Thank you so much for listening, and keep an ear out for the next episodes coming up with Eileen. Check out walkingtheland.net. Make sure you go find her on YouTube and get to purchase all her books through Amazon. Thanks again. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to the Homeopathy Hangout, where we discuss all things homeopathy from around the world. And now my mum and your host, Eugenie Kruger.
Hello, homies, and a very warm welcome to Homeopathy Hangout. Today, we are speaking with a very special woman, Eileen Nauman. Welcome to the show, Eileen.
Hi there. Thank you very much, Eugenia. I'm glad to be here, and I love Australia. I've been there twice, 2 weeks at a time, and I love the people. Just the land is magical.
That's so nice to hear. Whenever I have a guest I've never had a guest like you. I don't think there's a person on the planet like you, but whenever I have somebody similar to you who's had decades of experience.
No, an alien just dropped in, I have my UFO, my little saucer over there. It's a little bit out of sight of your video, but it's there, and I'm a star person, yeah.
Well, what I mean is that we haven't had many guests on the show who are, I can say they're a homeopath, a medical astrologer, a shaman, and an author of over 200 books that sold 23 million copies in New York Times bestsellers, and has served in the military, and the list is so long. So it's really, my brain is combobulated with where we even start. And normally I start with how were you first introduced with homeopathy, but well, for you, I really think our guests need a little bit of a background for those who might not have heard your name. And you have several names as well, which maybe we'll get into that too. But tell us a little bit about your background and where you've come from and who you are.
Right. Basically, I was born into a metaphysical family, and metaphysics means you're talking about energy. You're not talking about the five major religions or anything like that. You're talking about a person who understands what can't be seen, and they know and see what it is. And so I was born in 1946. I'm 77 years old. And at 2 years old, I had to have my tonsils out. And that was in 1948. And for anybody this as old as I am out there knows that medical surgery was done with chloroform and ether and things like that. And that was it. And I was only 2 years old. And you never took tonsils out of a 2-year-old, period. I mean, they don't even do it today. And they certainly have the means to do it. But the interesting thing that happened on this is that they took me into surgery, and the doctor put the gauze and put it over my face. And instead of just going unconscious, I went dead. I was dead for 5 minutes because he gave me too much. He held it there too long. I breathed in too much, and I died. And he was, as a nurse told my mother later, was in a panic, didn't know what to do. And the oldest nurse there, a gray-haired old lady like me, grabbed me up and held me in her hand and started thumping on where my heart is at in my sternum, and just kept thumping and thumping and thumping. And finally, after 5 minutes, I started to breathe again. Then they did the surgery and I came out of it. That was my first near-death experience. And so after that, I was about 5 years old, and my mother was a genuine Druid. She has a English-Irish background. My came from Native American, and he was call it a shaman back in that time. It was known as a medicine, and a medicine simply means a healing skill, or it's a healing tool of some sort, and that you worked with the sick, and that was your job in your village. But I mean, he had no DNA that showed that he was Native American, but we could trace it back to the early 1600s when his people came over, probably shortly after the Mayflower. And a member of his family married a woman who was the sister of Pocahontas. Have you heard of Pocahontas?
It's actually funny that my husband's nickname for me when he met me was Pocahontas, because I had these two little plaits on the side of my head.
How synchronistic. Why am I not surprised? Anyway, at 5, she would take me out. But the problem is that I didn't speak after I was born until 4 years old. And my mother had begun to be worried that I was mentally or cerebrally, something happened somewhere, and I couldn't talk or I couldn't communicate. But that wasn't true. The only thing I used to do was I would buzz like a honeybee, and I would go running around the house with my arms out, flapping and going, buzz, driving them nuts probably. But that was all I ever did. And then at 4, she talked to me one day, and I talked in full sentences with had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you knew what I was talking about. And I was using words that were far beyond what most kids that age had. And she just stood there. I think that was about the only time I thought I saw my mother was going to faint. But I didn't start talking till 4. Einstein, I mean, nobody made a big deal out of Einstein not talking until he was 7 years old. So, anyway, at 5, she started taking me out into the mountains, the Cascade Mountains of Oregon. And she taught me how to talk to stones and to talk to trees, and how to treat the trees like they were people, like we were, and that everybody was equal and everybody was respected. It didn't matter if you were a flower, a rock, if you were the spirit of the stream. It was all the same. We call that, in Lakota, it's called Mitakaway Oyosin, which means we are all related. In other words, you're my cousin, okay? The trees are my cousins, or aunts, uncles, however you want to see it. And so there was a training that started back then. Flash forward to 9 years old, I got struck by lightning at my home. There was a huge dried manure hill. Manure's, cow poop and chicken poop and any livestock poop that you can think of, horses. And it was a huge hill. It was the tallest thing on the flat of Ontario, Oregon, where we lived at that time. And I got struck by lightning. And so I came down off the hill after that, walked into the house and told my mom, and she was like terrified. And she was looking all over the place for entrance exit points and there was nothing. But the interesting thing that happened when I was walking down off the manure hill where I got hit is that there was a man's voice in my head, and he said, "You're either going to be a famous artist or a famous writer, and you must choose." Now, and it's like I am talking to you right now. It was that clear, and it had never happened to me before. And I didn't know what to do with it. So when my mom got done looking and making sure that I wasn't, electrified, uh, I told her, and she looked at me. She was a Scorpio, by the way. It's really cool. And she went to another room, to a closet, and she pulled out her Corona typewriter. And she brought it out to the kitchen table, made me sit down, pulled the typewriter out, put it in front of me. She says, "I'm going to teach you how to type." She knew at 9 years old that I was going to be a famous writer someday. And she didn't say that, but that, looking back on it and everything, and what she did is she brought out the typewriter and said, "I'm going to teach you. You're going to learn to type at 9," which you didn't do in 1940, it would be 1951 by that time or so. And so that was another thing. Now, my father is a very interesting person. He was a shaman, but nobody called him that at that time. And he saw that I'd been struck by lightning and survived it. So he said to my mother, "She's the one from this generation that's going to be taught what I know." Okay. And so that started at age 9. And I started training in with him once a week. And he would have books that he would want me to read. Now, we had a metaphysical bookcase. It had everything. It had Helen Blavatsky. It had Rudolf Steiner. It had, Richard Graves, the mythologist. And anybody who in the 1890s, around that time, because they had a huge blossoming of metaphysics at that time, and a lot of people who were clairvoyant and who were very old souls who had incarnated down here to get the word out again. I read all those books. Now, I do not claim at all that at 9 years old I understood everything. I even read the Tibetan Book of the Dead and the Tibetan Book, the Egypt's Book of the Dead and things like that. I also read the Holy Bible several times. And again, 9 years old, you're not going to absorb it like an adult would. Okay. But it went in. I did read it. So the brain has a memory. Not that I remember that much about it, but at age 9, I began that. And then at age 13, I got struck by lightning a second time. And this time it was a very serious one. I'm surprised I survived it. But if it's not time to go, you're not going to go. And I was in junior high in the 7th grade, and I was hurrying from my art class to my math class, which I hated. I hate math. Math in my mind, they're like two aliens that look at each other and they can't even communicate. So math and me don't get along. So that's where I was heading. I had a whole armful of books. There was 600 kids in this hall. The hall is 12 feet wide. And kids are going back and forth like this. Everybody's hurrying because you got 5 minutes to get to your class. That's it. Then either that or you're going to get a mark on your report card. And I looked up. The moment I looked up, I saw this bolt of light coming through the roof of the school, and it hit me directly in the crown, in the center of the head, came straight down through me, came down both legs, and went into the floor and the earth. It threw me 6 feet into the air, and not only up 6 feet, I went 6 feet that way because it's a 12-foot wide hall. And on each side of the hall are really heavy metal lockers, because each child had a locker where you could put your books and stuff, okay, and your coat and whatever else. And these lockers are 6 feet tall and at least 2.5 feet wide. And it's heavy metal. It's not thin and it's not aluminum that can bend really well. And as I got hit, went up and went that way, I rolled and I hit the back of the lockers with my back. And I mean, I hit hard. And all I remember is I hit, but I didn't feel the pain. And the next thing I knew, I was falling and I fell down on my hands and knees on the floor next to those lockers. And I had drool and saliva coming out of both sides of my mouth. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know who I was. I had no idea what had happened. And yet I went back later and looked at the 5 lockers that I hit, and the 3 in the middle were all dented. And you have no idea how thick that metal was. And yet I did not have a mark on my body. My mother double checked me everywhere after that. But anyway, the kids picked up all my stuff and they were all upset because everybody saw it happen. It was a blue sky. There was not a cloud in the sky. There was no thunderstorms. Okay. A nice sunny day. And here comes this bolt. And I finally got home and I told my mother everything. And of course, she really panicked. And again, no interest exit points, nothing. There was not even any bruising on my back. She was a clairvoyant. My father was a clairvoyant. And what a clairvoyant means is that, right now you and I are looking at each other, but in reality, my reality, we're only seeing 50% of everything that we could see. We all have a third eye. It's right here. It's called, the brow chakra, if you get into Hindu or Indian metaphysics. And we all have the same gear. We have a right hemisphere and we have a left hemisphere, and we have this chakra here. And so it's about being able to shift your awareness such that you can see the other interdimensions, and you can also see people around you. Okay. I see people around other, human beings who are alive, and always your chief guide is on your right behind your right shoulder. If there's anybody on the left, it is almost always 90% of the time one of your ancient ancestors who is staying to be working with you, to be a teacher, to be a support, to be a guide of some sort. Okay. But I mean, I could see a lot of things that were going on, and I knew how to turn it on and turn it off. And if I had to turn it off, then I paid attention to what was here in 3D or the third dimension. If I say 4D or 4D plus for the people here, that means the fourth dimension and beyond. And it wasn't until I was 18 and I left. I trained from age 9 to 18 in what father taught me. And this was weekly, and I always had to do it after I got my schoolwork done. I came from that generation. So long story short, I was about 24 years old, and I was in a bookstore, a metaphysical bookstore in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I was so happy to find it because it was an astrology bookstore too. And my mother had started training me in astrology at 9 years old. Okay. So then I was walking down the hall where there was lots of big, beautiful library books on both sides. And all of a sudden, this pocketbook comes sailing out of the shelf and comes right down and lands right in front of me and opens up. And I knew what that meant. It was like, okay, they want me to see something. So I picked it up. And here it was. It was a book on shamanism by a South American shaman who had written it. So I bought it because I knew it was for me, and I didn't know why. I didn't even know what shamanism was. I had no idea. And finally, I read it and I thought, my God, this is the same thing my father taught me. And that just really blew me away. And so it took, probably about another 10, 15 years before I really started getting into doing the work of a shaman. And a shaman is a messenger. number one. Okay. And the second thing is to bring energy pieces back to people who have lost, okay, and or they've lost it from a previous incarnation, and the shaman is told what to bring back, to blow it in your heart, to blow it in your head, and then do certain other ceremonial things so that the energy pieces that are coming home to the person is going to stay with them, and you teach the person how to do that, okay, because you're there in many capacities, but the biggest one is to have them work with these pieces, because everybody has pieces lost. And we're talking incarnations, we're talking different lifetimes. It could be 100 lifetimes or whatever. And every time we're in a lifetime and we go through a severe trauma or a shock, you can lose a piece out of your auric field. And your aura is comprised of 9 fields of energy. Each one has a different vibrational frequency, but together it also has a common frequency, okay? All of them added together gives you a particular frequency. And they are all different colors. And like I said, they're egg-shaped, and they are under your feet, and they are over your head. And you also have 7 chakras here in your physical body, and you have 2 more that are above your head. So you got a total of 9. That's Metaphysics 101 right there. And so how does this play into homeopathy? Well, in some really, really interesting ways. I started training in homeopathy in the 1970s. And I was born in 1946, so you can kind of figure the time on that. And the reason why I liked homeopathy, there was 2 reasons. First of all, as I got to understand homeopathy through the National Center of Homeopathy here in the United States, they had lots of courses and lessons and stuff, and I took them all because I felt like I was just absorbing something that was so important and so healing. I had to know more about it. I had to understand, what are they talking about? The interesting thing about homeopathy is this, and this is why I love it so much and why I've written 3 or 4 books on homeopathy over the years, is that after 12C, there is no more crude substance left in the remedy. And yet people, homeopaths, just aerially say, oh, give them a 30C, give them a 200C. No, let's bomb them with a 10M. Folks, there's nothing in them. Why does it work? Why does it work? They don't have a clue. But a metaphysician does, okay? I understand why it works. And it's like, but you're missing half of what Hahnemann was trying to tell you. And Hahnemann, by the way, absolutely, in the 6th Organon, said that there was things he did not know, but that it was spiritual. Yeah, it is. It's all metaphysics, okay? That was the thing. And so that's what really got me into it, was the fact that we were working with water that had memory long before Masaru Emoto came out with his Water Has Memory in, I think it was the 1990s, okay? I knew water was doing something then. I could not explain it, but we certainly can through quantum physics and quantum mechanics now. And here's the other part of this is, that's the 50% of what you're seeing, but the other 50% is the spiritual part of us, which has the Metaphysics 101 that I just, went sailing through. And we have to have some way of understanding why homeopathy works the way it does. And yet nobody questions it. It's like they almost don't want to touch it. It's like a snake. It'll bite you, And if you don't know it and if you ignore it, then it doesn't exist, right? Well, that's not true either. Because as I continued to get into homeopathy about a decade, and I found out that nobody really understood the mechanisms of it. And so based upon the fact that I'm a metaphysician first and a homeopath second, I use my second sight, as they call it. Okay, I used this. And I would have just to kind of give you a feel for how I operated, I would have a new client come in for a first time input. And but I always made sure that that client sat right here, and I was at my desk, and there was a chair there with a nice pillow on it. And they sat down, but as they were coming in, I was looking at their eyes and I was looking at the color of their skin. And I'll bet there ain't a homeopath alive that can tell me why I was doing that. They have no clue. But you need this clue. Okay, you all need this, because this is going to help you figure out that the remedy that you want to use, is it the right one or the wrong one? Because almost always we've got, 3 to 5 that we might give this new client, and it isn't always clear which one is the right one. So you sit there with 2 or 3 and you're going, what do I do? This is really simple. A person that comes in who is not well, their eyes have a muddy look to them. And what that means is that you cannot clearly see the color of the person's iris. You cannot see the color of it. You can only see this muddy darkness, which includes the iris and the pupil. And if you don't believe me, just go back and start looking at your clients in this way, okay? And you can know them. I mean, they can be old-time patients, but and let's say you're thinking, well, the other remedy worked for a while, but then it stopped. Now I got to go back and do it again. The next time they come in, and that's your plan, okay, you're going to look at their eyes. And if they're muddy, okay, you lock that in. The second thing you lock in is the color of their skin. And this works with Indian people, with indigenous people, with Black people, with red people, pink people, everything, okay? Their skin tone, you can tell if they are not feeling well because the skin doesn't look healthy. Now, on a white person, okay, a Caucasian, you can see almost always all of my patients who were white had what I call a sallow tone. It was kind of a yellowish or an off color. It wasn't a rosy white. Cheeks were somewhat red, okay, a little pink in the cheeks, and so their skin tone was always off too. So those are the 2 things, and I would sit there writing it on my intake form, because that was for me to know. And then we'd get into doing the normal intake, and eventually I would end up with, I had my materia medica there, I had my repertory, I had my laptop, I had my software, everything. And in the meantime, my chief shamanic guy is just sitting there laughing and, going like this. I would have maybe three remedies that were really good. And I knew one of them would really work. And he would always ask me, he says, do you want to know which one to use? I said, no. Just leave this up to me. I can do this. And so what I did is I would send the remedy. I would visualize it here with the name on it, and I would send it to the person's heart invisibly. It's a visualization, okay? And we would keep on talking for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm watching them out of the corner of my eye. And if it's the right remedy, within 10 to 15 minutes max, if it's the correct remedy, you're going to see the actual color of the iris of those people's eyes. They will no longer be muddy looking. And that is the biggest tell there ever was. And the second thing that happened, and it was a little slower, is that you could see from the neck up, you could see the color changing on the person's face, and the yellow or the sallowness going away, and you would start seeing this nice, rosy, healthy looking skin again, okay? And with people of different colors, again, you could see the change, okay? So just doing that, I would know that I had chosen the correct one. Sometimes I didn't and nothing happened. And I'm going, okay, which one do you want me to do? And so he would always say, do this one. So I would, again, visualize it. And it was always a 30C. You never needed anything over 30C. 30C is gentle and mild. It's not going to cause an aggravation in most people, okay? And I would send it to the person. And sure enough, 5-10 minutes later, here you start seeing the green iris of the person's eyes that you didn't even know what color it was when they walked in. And you could see this incredible flush of health just coming up, and it was so beautiful. And so my guide and I have a good relationship. He says, "You owe me one." Shut up. You're right. I was wrong. I should have listened. I should have asked,
It is interesting
But
because
anyway,
Hering's law of cure that says it heals from the top down. But Ian Watson or one of the guests I interviewed once did say that when it comes to energy healing, it goes from the bottom up and actually heals up through the chakras. So it's interesting that you say the color was actually from the neck up.
Yeah. Do you know why?
No, I
You know
don't.
why? Yeah. Well, this goes back to whether you're grounded or not. All right. And that's a big topic. And everybody's going, well, what's grounding got to do with homeopathy? Well, everything. But it's Metaphysics 101. You haven't been trained in it. But you can be. So if you're grounded, if your astral body, which is your emotional body, it fits inside your entire frame, okay? It's an exact duplicate of you in every way, but it's kind of white and luminous and transparent. And it looks like, if it was outside your body, it would look like a balloon, okay? That was filled with air, and you would see a copy of yourself. That's what it would look like, all right? So the thing is that the person, if they are grounded, then Mother Earth is sending her energy up through the soles. The bottom of each foot has a small chakra. These are electrical substations, okay? And for some of you, you're probably well aware of acupuncture, and you're aware of the meridians. These are all electromagnetic meridians of our body, and all the nadis, NADI', are the small chakras. Now we have the major ones that come from the root to our solar plexus and the navel and so on and so forth, straight up and down this way. But we have a meridian that's running this way and all throughout our body, up and down. It's not running this way, it runs north to south. And so if you're into Chinese medicine of any type, okay, or you're doing Chinese kinds of exercises like Qigong or Qi. Qi is their energy, okay? Then we're getting into energy medicine again. So it too is an energy medicine. Homeopathy is an energy medicine. And anybody that's working in that area, they don't necessarily have the training to understand the rest of the story of why does this work the way it works. Part of it is the reason why it comes up the body is that by being with me and our auras are mixing, by the way. Our auras are usually around 10 feet, 5-6 feet to each side of us, okay? Just to kind of give you a rough idea. And if somebody's sitting right next to you on the plane or on a bus or a train, or you're sitting next to your homeopath, your two auras are mixing, okay? And that's why it's so easy for me to send something to them, and they're going to get it because it's a very short movement, and you're both, one with each other, whether you like it or not, or whether you know it or not. And so the grounding happens because of my energy. I'm so grounded, it's not even funny. And that other person is probably not. And besides that, I can see their astral body coming out and kind of hanging around like a half filled balloon, white transparent balloon, kind of moving around. It could be just the head or the neck out, or it could be to the waist, or it could be to the ankles. And if you are not grounded, you cannot move energy. And this is so vitally important to every homeopath because you're dealing with energy medicine. Anything over a 12C, hey, you're in my territory. And you're in the territory of metaphysics, which is why you need to learn it. And the thing is that the energy that Mother Earth has when we are grounded comes straight up through two little chakra substations that are in the soul beneath each of our feet. She sends the energy up and she brings it up like this, and there it goes, and up and out the crown chakra. Okay, she's actually healing you. That's healing earth energy coming up through you because you're grounded. But the client who isn't grounded, okay, because 75% of the people in the world are not, they're not grounded. Which is why there's so much bad health. I mean, and people don't get well, and you wonder why a remedy doesn't work. Well, get them grounded first. This is the first thing, the first step you want to do, and it's something that I used to teach my clients is how to ground, and that would further a well-chosen remedy to go further and to go deeper. It was the correct remedy, but they weren't grounded, and they couldn't. They were not getting enough energy, earth energy, electromagnetic earth energy, to actually be able to help the vital force take that remedy and to fully 100% work it and work through all of the systems that were impaired. And
Eileen, can I
so,
quickly jump in here? Because
sure.
well, firstly, when you were talking about the palms being like a substation, I just shuddered at, how much I have my cell phone in the palm of my hand, and probably most of the population have our cell phones in the palm of the hand. And I was actually having a chat with a male the other day who's somebody very, military backgrounds. They were even noticing how the iPhone 15 especially makes them, they can actually feel the energy of the phone. And as we have more 5G turned on and we have our phones in our hand more and the technology is increasing, it really is quite scary what that's doing to our energy body. But the other thing I wanted to add was also when you talk about grounding, I think most of us, we think of just standing barefoot on Mother Earth. But what you mean by grounding is actually something a little bit different. And you wrote this incredible document on how we can ground ourselves and why it's important, like what it looks like to be ungrounded and versus grounded. And so the exercise that you sent through, I did that exercise and it was really powerful. And I can already feel that within an hour or so, I felt ungrounded again. And even now, as I'm sitting here, I'm noticing that I don't have that grounded feeling that I had after that visualization exercise. And I can't wait to do it again to have that feeling back again. And I'm just thinking this is why I got you on, because as you were mentioning, homeopaths need to understand metaphysics. We need to understand this so that we can know how we can help our clients in a deeper, more profound, longer lasting way. And something like
Right.
I like simple fixes. I don't like to overcomplicate things. And something as basically simple as giving all our clients this grounding exercise of yours to get them back into their bodies so that the remedy is going to work better is such a really actually easy but profound way of creating such
It
deep
is.
healing for our clients. So can you talk a little bit more about what you mean by grounding and maybe quickly like a little bit about what that exercise involves and what it feels to be grounded versus ungrounded and what that might look like?
Right. Well, first of all, it's a shamanic exercise. And in our business as shamans, we never give away any of our secrets. And that is a secret, but I was given permission to do it because I was always bitching about seeing all my clients with their astral bodies hanging out. And I knew that no matter what remedy I gave them, it was going to be very short lasting. And that is a huge key. If it's only lasting when if you gave them a 200C, it's supposed to last a while unless they're in a critical crisis, which is a totally different story. But I'm just talking about someone who isn't in a critical crisis or an emergency. All right. Because a 200C can be lapped up just like that. Okay. But in most cases, it's, I have allergies or whatever else. And so you give them a 30C or a 200C, that thing should last a while. And it does. Okay. They'll say, oh, I was great for a couple hours and it went away. Or it was great for yourself. Well, what is going on? And I have seen in my lifetime as a homeopath where the remedies used to work a lot longer than they do now. But ever since the electromagnetic iPhones came in, there has been a more shortening and lesser acting for a smaller amount of time than it used to. I've seen this. I've been on this side and I've been on this side. And it all goes back to grounding. So let's talk about grounding, okay? This is a shamanic exercise. And in our business, we have certain things that we have to do because where we go, it's kind of like Star Trek. No man or woman has gone before, and it's dangerous out there. And that is not a joke. I'm not laughing, and you don't see me smiling about that. So the type of grounding that we use is the most powerful grounding technique I know of. And we wouldn't be using it if it couldn't protect us totally in an energetic way when we decide to flip out of 3D and go to 4D plus, okay? Because there is an actual shift that takes place. And that grounding is an absolute must. It can be the difference between living and dying. And I am not joking about that. You don't see me smiling on it. So even though it's a shamanic technique, it doesn't mean that normal people can't use it, because I think everybody in the world needs to use it. All right. And I've been saying this for years, and I put it up on my website and things like that, and hope that people trip by and find it. Fortunately, I found you, and we're going to get it out to a lot of people, I hope, because I can prove it right away, whether or not I am full of bullshit or it really works. And you're going to find out it really works. But don't take my word for it. Don't take a word for anything that I say. Prove it out. Test it out. Prove it on your own way of doing proving, so that it makes you feel trustworthy toward whatever I've said. All right. Because all I'm sharing is my experiences with it. Okay. And so when you do this grounding technique, you want to be in a quiet place. You can either lay down, you can lay down on your bed, lay down on your couch, or you can sit I cannot sit in a meditative position. I never could. So, like people who do meditation and yoga and stuff, I can't do that. I have to lay down. That feels best to me. Whatever feels best for you. If you do the yoga type, fine. Do it on the bed, fine. Do it on the floor. I don't care, just as long as, and it's really important, if you do it on the bed or the floor, put a pillow underneath your knees and your head, okay? And the reason why I say that pillow under your knees, if you're on the floor or bed, you want your spine to be nice and loose and relaxed. If you don't put a pillow under your knees, you're pulling that entire spine. You don't want that, okay? So always put a pillow there. Once you do that, then you want to, first of all, the breathing exercise was given to me by my teacher, Oceana Fastwolf. She was an Apache Mohican medicine woman. And in Turtle Island, which is Canada and the United States, to the Native American people, okay? This is my father's teaching now. She was considered the best gem and quartz crystal healing teacher on Turtle Island. I was very fortunate that my medicine man who was training me sent me to her, because I was always picking up rocks. And he got the idea, I think you need to go see Oceana, okay? Because I love rocks. Rocks and me just hum together. So off and on for 3 years, I trained with her. And so this part of the exercise is actually her part. Now the rest of it has come from my chief shamanic guide, from a lot higher sources than I am. And they gave it to me and said, okay, we want you to teach this, and this is how we want you to teach it. But the breathing exercise is really important, okay? Oceana had a 4-year degree in psychology from Berkeley, Okay. And she used to do a lot of training with the oscilloscope, which is the only thing they had back in that time. And she would, like put a thing in water to see what was the electromagnetic reading on water and stuff like that. But before she did that, she would always do this breathing, which it was given to her. And what you want to do is, first of all, don't cross your ankles. Keep your feet like this. With your hands, don't cross them like this, okay? Don't do that. Keep the hands and arms down on your thighs or at your side if you're laying down. That's a big deal. Then you want to just close your eyes, and you want to make sure you don't have a dog, a cat, a kid, or your iPhone in the room you're in. I'm telling you that if you try and do this and you get some kind of sharp noise in there when you're doing this, that's not going to make you feel good for a couple of days. So it's really important. I used to hang out a sign on my door. I would always tell my husband, David, I said, hey, I'm going to take a journey. And I put the sign out because sometimes he forgets. But the sign is there. It says, don't come in. I'm traveling. And I also locked the door, and the dog is out. Okay. So, and if you have a landline phone in that room, all right, turn the ringer off. You have to. It's a really, really important part of this whole thing is setting a scene. So then what you want to do is just close your eyes. And I have an eye mask that I wear. Okay. I put it over my eyes. A lot of people put a scarf over their eyes. You can do this day or night, doesn't matter. And, but I like it because if it's really dark, then I could see really good clairvoyantly. It comes in much more in brighter colors than if I'm looking during the day at it, because I have sunlight and stuff like that coming into my eyes. So it sort of washes some things out. Anyway, you want to close your eyes and you want to take a deep breath in your nose. And just like the yoga people, when they do deep breathing, that's the kind that I'm talking about here, is you take it in and take it down and bring it right into your belly and just really put as much air in there as you can. Hold it for about 5 seconds and then slowly let it come up out of your mouth. And you do this 3 times. 3 times. Okay. Then, if that's great. If it's going to work. I don't care if you don't believe it doesn't work, but I mean, that's fine. Go ahead and try it anyway, because a lot of times just doing the exercise will prove itself to you in a matter of 10 to 15 minutes. But you want to then see and visualize your astral body. Remember, your astral body is kind of a whitish, transparent, balloon-like looking thing that you can see. It's transparent. You see through it, but you can also see the outline and everything. And I want you to, first of all, see the astral feet in exactly where your human 3D physical feet are at. And you're going to slowly bring the astral, and you're going to see this visually. This is a visual exercise. You're going to see these feet start to come up and rise. All right. And pretty soon you'll see them sticking out of your knees, and then you go up to your thighs and you'll see them sticking out of your hips. And you'll see it all the way up, and you'll see them sticking out of your neck. And then you'll see the feet here, and they're sticking out right here. And then you bring them up above your head, just maybe 6 to 10 inches above your head. And your astral feet are actually there. Okay. Then you're going to slowly will it and bring it down, and just come and do the same thing the same way that you did before. And as you come down past your knees, then you're going to bring those astral feet, and you're going to see them lock in, and you're going to feel it. You're going to, when those astral feet slide into your physical feet, you're going to feel it. The other sensations that you get from this, all right, there's many, but always there is a sense of heaviness usually from the knees down or from the ankles down, and the feet definitely feel like you got two clodhoppers on them. Okay, they feel more weighted. We call that locking in. And that means that you're grounded. That means that you can take 100% of Mother Earth's energy up through your soul chakras of both of your feet. And it's going to come right up through all of your major chakras and all of your little substation chakras, okay? Everywhere. And then it's going to come out the top of your head and move into the ether, okay? So that's basically the grounding ceremony. Now, people, the first time they try it, do you want to share what happened to you? You
Yeah.
can tell some of the sensations that you had.
Absolutely. And I was quickly going to ask as well with the lid as well. Were you going to mention about whether you put the lid on or not?
You can see your lid is open, okay? You can shut it, but it's going to open and shut all the time on its own. So that's not really an important part of it, okay? But yeah, you can see it close shut, but don't be surprised if you're still and you're doing 3 deep breaths, all right, in and out, and then you open your eyes and then you're done with the grounding, okay? We're kind of hop skipping and jumping over
Mm,
this.
mm.
My handout is far more clear and far more better than what I'm saying here, but this gives you an idea of what it's like. But I know you just started it and you want to share what happened to you. You're
Yeah.
still alive, by the way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It felt really beautiful, and I definitely had that heaviness sensation, and it felt like cozy and comfortable, like a warm hug around my legs, and it felt like home. And
Mhm.
and then on my left foot, under the sole of my foot, a little bit more towards the heel, I had this very sharp, like a pin prick. And it was kind of like every second. And initially it caught me off guard. It was actually quite painful. And every second
Yeah,
it would just prick, prick, prick. And I kind of lost count, but it felt like it was somewhere between 20 to 30 pricks. And then I just kind of breathed into it. And I was like, just relax, just see what it's showing you or see where it's taking you, or just kind of go with the sensation. Just don't freak out. And it
right.
went away for a few seconds and then it came back, but not as many. And then it went away for a little bit and then it came back, but not as many. And it was really interesting. Just it was really like a pinprick. That's exactly what it felt like.
Right.
And I kind of had the sensation of my astral body just kind of like stitching itself to my physical body almost. And then on the left side of my scalp, because I did kind of put the lid back on it initially, it felt like somebody was standing on this side and pulling, like
Mhm.
from this side, pulling their hair from the left towards that side. And yeah, just really interesting
Right.
sensation. I felt really grounded, really heavy. I didn't actually want to come out of it because it felt so comfortable just sitting there. So I sat there for quite a while. And luckily the kids and the dogs and husband and everyone left me alone
Good.
for a while. So I just sat there and I felt like I could have sat there all day in this comfort. It felt so
Yeah.
nice and heavy and cozy. And I got up and you did say in that document that you might have to repeat the exercise sometimes every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, like 20 or 30 times a day for the first few weeks or month as you're kind of training this astral body to stay inside like a little toddler that you
Right.
have to, teach like toilet train or whatever. Like, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. Or a new puppy. Like, this is where you go. This is where you go. And I did from maybe about a half an hour. I want to say an hour, but I feel like it was actually much shorter than that. I did feel that sensation wasn't there anymore, and I couldn't wait to go and do it
It was
again.
lifting out and coming up out of your crown again. Yeah,
Absolutely,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let me talk to you about the pricking because I get a lot of people who have a lot of different sensations and some of them are pretty scary sometimes, okay? I mean, I definitely it can unsettle you, but I mean that's not normal. Mostly what people get is a sensation of heaviness, and that surprises them and that scares some people, and I don't blame them because it can feel like you got a lead armor from your knees down when your astral body locks back into your physical feet where it belongs. Okay, now in your case the pricking was is that there was a channel of energy. If you go and you look at the Chinese meridians, but you look at them on your feet, chances are you're going to see where that pricking which was Mother Earth doing it, by the way. She was trying to clear a channel that was blocked. Does that make sense to you?
Interesting. Yeah. And you did mention about the left
I
side
mean, what do
being.
you do to clear a channel? You know, you dig at it, you keep poking and clearing it out. Okay, that's what was happening with that one. Now, what was the other the sensation?
Say on the
You had
scalp,
another
just on the left,
sensation
just the left
all
side.
right.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
pulling.
Thank you. Okay, so here's Metaphysics 101. I want everybody to visualize an entire human body from head down to feet. And I want you to draw a midline right down from the top of your head, right down the center of your body to your feet. Okay? They call that the midline, is anatomically speaking. Now, this is Native American training and teaching, okay? That I'm going to share with you that's from my father. The entire left side of our body, it doesn't matter whether you're man, woman, transgender, whatever, whoever you are, it's all the same. It never changes. The left side of your body is where you pull in all the energy for your entire aura, and it feeds through the chakras. So this is the side that pulls things in for us. Okay. The right side of our body, midline, is the masculine energy of us. And this is the energy we put out into our 3D existence to create and manifest what we need in this lifetime. Now, this is a really, really important concept, okay? But I want to get back to you where you felt like it was like this. That's because there was some clouded energy up in that area. And because you were grounded, it was starting to clean it up and dissolve it and get it out of your aura. Grounding clears and cleans your entire auric layer system. And that's what you were feeling. And sometimes it feels like they're pushing you like this. But what it is there's a malfunction of energy in probably the astral field, which is your second field out, which is our astral body, by the way. The astral field's right here. And that's where you were feeling it, was in this area. And again, that's where the emotions, the astral body is our emotions, all of our emotions, the good, the bad, and indifferent. And this is why, the reason why your astral body wants to escape your physical body is because you've had a trauma, a shock, PTSD, a TBI, which is a traumatic brain disorder, or anybody who has any kind of brain malfunction. It is the shock that sends the astral body flying out of this body. And by the way, when it's totally out, a lot of people, and usually when you do this breathing grounding exercise, okay, your feet can be about right here. This is probably a better place for them to be rather than totally out. For us, we're totally out, but that's a different story. For you, just see your feet right where your brow is, okay? And it's a funny looking thing, but you'll remember it that way. Keep your feet in, because from your body, and you're not trained up for some things that I really can't talk about. In general, the best way I can say this is to get a comparison here. Have you ever woke up at night and couldn't move?
I
You were
haven't. No.
paralyzed.
My husband has, yeah.
Okay. Everybody almost always has that sensation. Well, what causes it? What causes it is that your astral body has come out fully out of your crown chakra. The astral body is connected to you with a silver cord. That silver cord is attached to our heart, okay? And as long as that silver cord between the astral body and you're alive. If it's cut, you're dead, okay? It's really simple. So, but at night, okay, the reason why you go to sleep is that the astral body unlocks and comes out of your body, comes up, out, and you'll see the silver cord here. And most people, will see the astral body on the silver cord just kind of floating around the bedroom, and that's where it stays. Okay. Now, there are different types of people who are more spiritually trained or awake as a soul. Okay. Their astral bodies come out. Okay. But they don't stay in the room with you. They are off into 4D plus and they're doing work. They're either training, teaching, or helping or supporting in some way something somewhere. Okay. Because they have orders from their chief guide to go do whatever. And you could be doing this at night, but you'll wake up in the morning and tell your spouse, I dreamed like I was flying last night. Yeah, that's the astral body. That's what it feels like. Okay. But they didn't know that. So they thought it was a dream, but it's not. They actually woke up in a lucid dream and caught their astral body out doing something. Okay. They were flying someplace or they could have gone somewhere. The way you know that it's an astral dream is that all six senses are online. You can smell, you can hear, you can taste, everything. That is astral. Well, the other thing is when the astral body comes out at night, you can't move if the astral body isn't in your body. You can't move. And people call that being paralyzed, and it scares the living daylights out of them, which, yeah, it can. But that's what it is. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you woke up and your astral was out when, it should have been coming back in. It happens. And usually the paralyzation moments is when someone is going through a lot of stress. When there's a lot of stress involved, that they'll come and tell you, I woke up and I couldn't move. I couldn't move my hand. I couldn't move my foot. I couldn't speak. I couldn't do anything. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't do it because your astral body was out of your physical body. Now that you know that, and if it's ever happened to you, you know what to do to get it back in. Go through the grounding exercise. Pull that astral back into your body and you'll be fine. It's not going to hurt you. It just scares the living daylights out of you is all. Okay. That is some of the things that can happen with astral bodies at night. And there is groups like myself who are out doing battles, wars, whatever you want to call it. We'll leave it at that. But there's others who are at a disaster area or at an earthquake area, and they're picking up the astral body of the person who has died, and they're taking the spirit and the astral body to the other side. And there's a whole process that goes on there to help them revive and get through the trauma. So grounding, why should we ground? This is the thing. Why should we ground? You want to ground because, first of all, you want a healthy immune system. When your astral body is out floating around every day, your immune system is not 100%. And that means you're going to get more colds, more flu, or it's going to hang on longer than it should, or it's going to come back again and again and again when it shouldn't either. Those are all signs of an immune system under attack. But it's because your astral body isn't inside your physical body. Get it in and watch and see for the coming 6 months or a year that you've done the grounding exercise and you know when it stays in and you know what to do when it gets out. My mother, the Druid, who is clairvoyant, was always out of her body. And when I brought this technique to her, she was doing it 5 times a day. She says, it's always running away. It's escaping. Why won't it stay home? Well, my mother had been through a lot of trauma too. And, the astral body leaves because it doesn't want to feel the emotions that you, the human, are suppressing or repressing, and you haven't worked through these wounds. And it's just a huge hole in this sock, for lack of a better word. It's where the really hard stuff that you can't reach. And the astral body, because it's your emotional body, gets upset with having to feel that all the time. So it leaves you so that it doesn't feel it anymore. If it's out of your body, it doesn't feel it. And that's why it's important to get it in. you can't possibly work through these things. Now, we take a homeopathic remedy and somebody is doing this exercise and doing it religiously. It usually takes 30 days to retrain an astral body, okay? But if someone's had 18 years of PTSD and more in their family, okay, and they've got the 10,000-yard stare, it may take them 60 or 90 days. And doing it every day, and every time it starts coming out, you'll feel it. I know you can't stop your car on the freeway and do it, but when you get to where you're going, find someplace quiet. This takes, about 10 minutes out of your life. Go to the bathroom, shut the damn door, and do it there, wherever you have to. But I mean, don't stop in the middle of the freeway to do it. I've had people do that. And it's like, oh my God, no. Use some sense. Yeah.
So do you think that, I'm just thinking of that little 2-year-old, with a chloroform dying for 5 minutes, that inevitable shock that would have left on your vital force. And do you think that a homeopathic remedy like aconite and opium, or something even, in a mega potency, can that bring a soul back? Or is that something that, do you think any homeopathic remedies can ever bring a soul back into the body?
Okay.
Or ever truly heal it? Or
this is a what if question, okay? I know that if she had known homeopathy, she would have used it. And chances are it probably would have pulled me out of it. I think personally that the reason why I didn't talk till I was 4, because remember, it was your voice box where they were taking your, stuff out, for lack of a better word. It hurt so much that you didn't want to talk. And so that's why I didn't say anything until I was 4. That's possible. Now, if she had been a homeopath, she would have known, aconitum at a high dose, like 50 m, would have helped in so many different ways, because first of all, it's going to pull my astral body back fully into my physical body so that it can handle the trauma. See, this is the problem. When you get into shock and trauma or PTSD, or you get a TBI, your astral body just shoots right out of your body. And usually it's halfway out, okay? It's not fully out of your body, but it's halfway, or so that you'll see the knees sticking up here in your crown chakra area. But it wants to escape the pain, the anguish, the grief. It actually retards a person's ability to get well in a reasonable amount of time. They can't do it. It drags on and on and on. And so this is why it's so important to get that astral locked in and keep that sucker in, because that is where it's supposed to go, and that's where it's supposed to stay. That's the first reason why you want it. The second reason is equally important in a different way. We want you to have a healthy immune system, okay? So that's number 1. Number 2, we all have dreams. We all have things that we want to do in life, and things that call us that we just so badly desire to do. And yet, how many people have you seen around you who have had these dreams and stuff, and nothing ever happens? They never get there. Or they start and then they stop. They start and then they stop. They start and they stop. And they never get there. That's because the astral body is out of the physical body. And remember this, your right side is your masculine side, which builds the skyscrapers and builds the highways and builds your dreams and builds your visions. It actually puts things in 3D. It helps you get to where you want to go. Mm-hmm. And if that isn't enough reason to try this, I don't know what else we can tell you. Mm. Okay, so that's why grounding is so very, very important. I mean, I'm a good case. I've written 245 fiction books in the last 40 years. I'm sure I'm good for Ripley's Believe It or Not, but I haven't even bothered with that. But my astral is in my body. I can manifest. You can manifest. It may not be 245 books. The romances, okay? So But they're in 33 foreign languages, and there's 23 million in sales. So I'm a really good reason why you want to do this, because you can make the goals that you really, really internally want as a human being. What makes you happy? What makes you want to get up in the morning and just go for it? All right. I'm that way every day. It's like, oh, new day, new things. Let's go. Okay. But my body, astral body is trained to stay inside me, no matter what happens. And believe me, I've been through enough PTSD and shock and trauma. I'll put up my stuff that happened to me against any work through it. And did I use homeopathic remedies? You bet I did. But I knew which ones to use. And I used them in very high doses or an LM. And that helps to heal you. But and the third reason why you want to be grounded is you want that homeopathic remedy that was well chosen. See, this is the thing, well chosen. And when they're well chosen, it's supposed to go for gold, okay? The person is going to have immediate changes in whatever their symptom picture was, even if it is, maybe 5 or 10%. There's still a change. There is still the vital force is absolutely connected to what is going on. And they're working in tandem with each other. But that's because you're grounded and you're getting Mother Earth's energy up to help you, to reinforce you, to reinforce the immune system and all the systems. It's such a tragedy to sit here and watch this and watch the suffering and the pain when you don't have to have it.
Do you think at all it's like it feels like it's almost a chicken and an egg scenario, which one came first? Because you need your astral body inside your physical body for the homeopathic remedy to work properly. But you can also in some way use the homeopathic remedy to help get your astral body in. So if the remedy has removed some of the shock, it's easier for the astral body to come back into the physical body. No, not quite. No.
Unfortunately, homeopathic remedies do not bring the astral body back into the human body. It does not work at all.
I was even wondering remedies
I've tried it.
Remedies like lacum aeternum, or we've been told that the remedy like lacum aeternum can help you bring you back. I think in Tina Smith's work, he talks something along those lines that can help the soul come back into the body. But
it's not your soul that's coming back into your body; it's your astral body. Again, Metaphysics 101.
Okay.
This is like saying, "Oh, my elbow is my ear." No, it's not. If something's coming back in, it ain't your soul. You have a piece of your soul in this body, okay? But it's the astral body that causes the most issues. And this is why I'm very adamant about using this. And I use it on my clients. And I use it on the people that I journey for. And my medical astrology clients, they also have to do it. And you'd be surprised at the changes, the positive changes, the influx of energy they didn't have. It's coming back. Well, yeah, because Mother Earth's bringing up her energy into your entire electromagnetic energy system of your aura. And now the chakras can really get fed properly, which goes into your endocrine system and then to all your organ systems, and life is good.
Eileen, I have just something that popped in my head. Yuri Sahovsky, who does a lot of work on the autopathic remedies. He's created the autopathic bottle. He actually, one of the things he does is he suggests to hold the autopathic bottle just 6 inches above your head, just on your crown chakra, and just holding the bottle there and then making a remedy from that. It just made me think, I wonder if you can just hold it there and make a remedy from your astral body.
Well, but your astral body is inside yourself, and your astral body is attached directly to your heart. If I'm not saying that doesn't work, if it works for him and his people, who the hell cares that it works that way? There's many roads to Rome, okay? And so if it is working for him, for his clients, hey, more power to him. Go for it, okay? Because healing is different for everybody, and you have to find the right homeopathic path or the right healer or whatever you want to call it, to take you to a place of health and wellness and psychologically and emotionally. Okay. And it's different for everybody. I attract certain people. I don't attract everybody. Okay. And you don't either. You attract a certain kind that you can help. And depending upon what your energy is, that's what you're going to pull in. It's like a magnet. You two belong together and you can do good things together as a client and a homeopath, which is terrific. And you're using energy medicine. But if you use the grounding technique in this, it changes the ball game tremendously. And oh, she's crazy. Well, I dare you to try it, and then you come back and tell me I'm crazy. I'm not. And I've seen it for 50 years as a homeopath. My people get well. My people move. My people get to the coal in the sock. But half of it is grounding, getting that astral body into your physical body, getting it locked in and keeping it there. So I think we kind of covered that subject.
They covered that. Well, my next kind of big topic that I would love to have a chat with you is your interesting ways of administering homeopathic remedies. Would you be happy to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. I have a lot of energy tools. That's what we call them in our business, the shamans. We have energy tools. And one of the energy tools, well, I have lots of them. But I want to do some simple ones that everybody probably knows about or knows something about, so that they can kind of, make some kind of a connection with it. Let's talk about charging water. Okay. My teacher, Oceana Fastwolf, taught me that, and the way she taught it was that she would take a regular glass, maybe 4-ounce glass or an 8-ounce glass, no color to it, just regular glass, and maybe fill it about half full with water. And then she would put either a tumbled stone or a piece of rough stone or gemstone, whatever she wanted to use. She would put it into the glass. What do you got there? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, not quite. That's a good one. But you know what you could do with that? Okay.
Anyone will have to go on Rumble to go watch that, section.
No, what you could do with that, that's a beautiful piece of quartz crystal. And all you have to do is sit and hold the glass gently on top of the quartz crystal. Okay. Yeah. And you could just, basically, we have she has a ceremony that she taught us after normally we put the stone in the water, okay, and that stone's just too big, but we're going to pretend that we put a stone into that water, okay, which is what she does. And what she told us is that you have a chakra here and a chakra here, and you're going to put your hands together like this. She says you're not going to put them like this, but you're going to hold them like this, and then you're going to cup them over the top of the glass, and you're going to be about 6 to 8 inches above it, and you're going to make 4 clockwise circles. And the 4 clockwise circles, is to honor the north, south, east, and west directions of the Native Americans. Then you open up your hands like this and you break the energy, because the energy is coming from these chakras down into the water. The energy hits the water and hits the stone, and the stone reacts and puts its energy into the water, because the water has memory. So then when we've done this and we break it, then we just shake off the extra energy that we've accumulated. You take the stone out, and then you can take a teaspoon of the water. So it's like a homeopathic remedy. Okay. It's like a dilution, and just take, you can either drink it or you can take a teaspoon of it, but it's going to do something depending upon the stone that's used and its energy to you and to all your energetic systems, including your physical body. It touches everything. And so that is that's what she calls charging water. That was her thing. Now, back probably in about 1995, I was online with the Athena group. We had about 125 people from around the world on the internet. And I was a homeopath, and these were people who wanted to learn beginning homeopathy. A lot of these people lived out in rural areas of different countries. Okay. And the one instance that created a real crisis for me was that one of my Italian people in Italy had a 6-year-old daughter, and she all of a sudden got a spike fever of about 105. I mean, it was like that. And he first of all, Gayo was his name, Gayo. Gayo didn't have I kept trying to get these people to buy a small homeopathic kit so that they would have it on hand. Well, these people were poor. They didn't, and also they lived out in a rural, and all the pharmacies, the homeopathic pharmacies or drugstores, are in the town or the city. They're not out in a rural area. And he would have to drive 100 miles to the nearest city to get to a pharmacy that had the remedy that I wanted to give her, which was Aconitum napellus. Because it's world famous for sudden spike fevers in children. And so I just sat there for a minute going, my God, what can I do? And my people told me, they said, write the remedy on a piece of paper and sit the glass on the paper and let it sit for 5 minutes, and then take it and give her a teaspoon of it and watch the temperature and see what happens, and give it to her every 5 minutes. And so there's a lot of variations on this. This is one way. Another way is that you could use Oceana's method of doing this, okay, even though the paper remedy was down below, outside of the glass. By doing that and thinking that this is the energy, this is the remedy that I want, okay, aconitum. I think I had 200C or a 1M. I don't remember now. It's a long time ago. But anyway, you can do that, or the Emoto method, which is water has memory. Okay. All you need to do is just hold the glass and speak the remedy into the glass and the potency, and ask it to please help, in this case, his daughter, okay? And say thank you, because water's living. Water is a personality. And so there was several different ways you could do it. But long story short, within 15 minutes and 3 teaspoons of the Aconitum napellus, I think it was 1M, her temperature was at 104 or 105. I can't remember that either, but it was very high, and it came down 2 degrees. And so we did it 3 more times, and it came down to normal within a half hour. That thing just like that. And that was just simply using water and writing the remedy with the potency on it, and then setting the glass on the table, and then either doing this or speaking into it. Doesn't matter. It's, you are involved energetically with everything that's going on. And Gayo was very well, he was in his body. He was very well grounded. So that also helped, because if you're not grounded, if you're partly out of your body, those things aren't going to work as well. They might work at 60% instead of 100%, because you're not home. You're not 100% invested emotionally in what you're doing, because half of it's out of your body. There's a reason for these things. And so you become very full of power when you have your astral body back into your physical body. You are full of power, your power. And we can do anything with it we want, because we create our own imagery in our own lives the way we want to. We pull in the people we need. We pull in whatever the issue or the problem or the challenges in our life. We do it all ourselves. but we'd be far better off if we had grounding, and it would make life a lot easier and a lot less stressful. And that's a fourth thing about the grounding is that it cuts stress in half just because it's back in your body. And I don't know anybody in this world today that isn't so overwhelmed with stress. So that's another reason to try it.
I'm so grateful you're sharing this because, we wouldn't have had the COVID pandemic if we had grounded people on this planet. But the fact that nobody is in their body is, I think, a big
That's
reason.
right.
It's just the
Yeah.
scene was
And
set.
they would have had the energy and the strength and the resilience. See, the earth energy, Mother Earth's energy, she sees us as her children. But the trees are her children too, and the flowers and the lizards and the little turtles and the fish. Everything is her children. That's how she sees us. So she wants to give us this energy, but we're so stressed out, and people are so far away from nature and from the energy that's around us because it's been lost. It's been forgotten. And so there's a few of us around that know differently, and we're out there teaching and trying to say, hey, there's better ways when you'd like an easier life, less stress. That in itself, you don't have to take a remedy. You just have to get your astral back into your physical. I know it sounds weird, okay? I'm sure I probably sound like an alien from another star world that's come in to say, this is what you do, and you'll be okay. If you go back into our metaphysical sciences, for as long as we have had books, okay, but I mean, the Egyptians had theirs and they sculptured them on stone. Going back to Sumerian, and even before that, everything was in stone about the wholeness of spirit with everything, and that spirit was a part of you. But spirit means a lot of different things, and that's why you need training. I had 18 years of training because my parents were metaphysicians. I was lucky. Okay. So, but that's basically how homeopathy intersects completely with Metaphysics 101. And if you know your metaphysics, that can give you such a leg up with your clients. You can understand on a deeper basis about what's going on. And your remedies will work better. You'll be more consistent. And when your remedies don't keep working, like they don't anymore. I mean, I hear this from so many people who are homeopaths that, oh, it worked well for 2 or 3 days, but that was it. And if you keep giving it, it has that same consistency. It isn't supposed to be that way. That's not how it works. If you go back into the older texts of Kent and Clark, and some of our older homeopaths, those remedies, he only gave it once, and they were in a horse and buggy, and I never saw them again, okay? But they got well. So ask yourself, what is going on here? There's a lot. And if you get back in your body, that's going to take care of 100% of it. And it will help your client too. A lot less suffering and a lot less pain as a result of that.
Eileen, do you mind if I loop back to the administration of the remedies? So you were saying that you gave that, we can give it in the water, but then these days you have a different way of.
Oh, you mean just sending it psychically, energetically?
Yeah, sending it psychically. But then also, is that something, because, we also have the bioresonance type machines or the radionics machines, which I've recently started using. And it always just like kind of trips me because there's like really nothing in that machine. And also the codes that we use to make the remedies, they were actually all made using dowsing. So you just had a bunch of people that got together and they just dowsed the codes for these various remedies. And then there's Veda Austin's work, which she says you actually only need to, you can just put your thought into the water and then she crystallizes it. Same, it's based on Masaru Emoto's work that she does, but she only actually exposes the water to the substance for 30 seconds. And, it made me think that you could probably only expose the water to 1 second or not even that, just have a quick think into the water. It will know. I think water is so much more intelligent than what we give it credit for. And so we want to put these routines and boundaries and stuff around it. Oh, you need to do it for 30 seconds or 1 minute, or you need to go. I mean, I understand why Oshina did that because that was more ritualistic thing and showing her respects to the four sides.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you know,
The
that is
four
our own,
directions.
that's our own human limitations. Like, I think it's just a split second of actually putting that intention into the water, and that's probably enough for the water to know what it is that you're trying to achieve. Or maybe it's not. Like, this is the type of stuff that keeps me up at night. These thoughts. Like, do we
Okay.
even need
Well,
radio?
let's give you some good night's sleep, okay? First of all, uh, we are electromagnetic. The universe is electromagnetic. Our cells, our red blood cells, our white blood cells are electromagnetic. The atoms and the molecules are electromagnetic. Our auric fields are electromagnetic. It is the magnetism that brings things together and makes it happen. The moment that you think that thought, and if you don't think thoughts don't have have something to do with everything, it's everything. All right. But for instance, one of the things that I do, and I did it with you, is a lot of my clients, both the medical astrology clients, as well as the homeopathic, and as well as my shamanic clients, if I think they need a remedy, then they'll, I always tell them about it because I don't want them to be surprised or go, I'm feeling different. Why is that? They always know ahead of time that I'm going to send them a remedy, and we talk about it sometimes. Sometimes I will tell them what I'm sending, but most of the time I don't, because people tend to get twisted up. If I say to a Navajo woman who believes snakes are evil, if I tell her I want to give her lachesis, well, that won't go down well, and she won't receive it because it's a snake venom. Okay. And Caucasians and everybody else of every other color is the same. If you tell them what it is beforehand, they either immediately opened up, ready to receive it, or they have done this. There's no friggin' way I'm taking that. Okay. Or they don't trust it. You see, or they don't trust themselves, or they don't trust the homeopath. Okay. That all bets are off. That's it. Remedy ain't going to work. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you make. It won't work. And they can't pay you enough to make it work if it's in that kind of situation. So the first thing that metaphysicians, which is what I am, are taught is to come from the heart. Okay? It's love. It's compassion. It's treating you as an equal. It's treating you as someone who has wonderful abilities and skills, and we can't live without you because there's only one of you, and you have very special things you can do that can help all of us. So this is a real foundational thing that we're talking about. It may sound very simple, and some people may think it's really stupid or airy-fairy. It's not. If you love what you're doing and your heart is in it, okay, your thought, okay, my thought, when I send that remedy to that person halfway around the world, I'm visualizing it and I'm sending it to their heart. It goes directly to their heart, and it works. I mean, I can see the difference in you from the day before I sent you the remedy and what you're doing now, and
I
how
can
you
feel the
look.
difference. Yeah, I can feel
Well,
the difference.
I can see
Absolutely.
that. I can see the color of your iris. Before it was nothing but mud, and I'm going, oh damn, we got to do this first. Okay, fine. So we'll do that. But I gave you a remedy, and I told you beforehand it was a 200C. And I told you that I wasn't going to tell you what it was because I didn't want your little head getting in there messing around with the energy. It's energy, okay? This is why a lot of homeopaths don't tell people, but they have to explain it in a way that it makes it okay. And a good homeopath has built a bridge of trust between themselves and their client or their patient. There is a great love from the homeopath to that person. They want them to get well. And I've met many, many, many who are like that. And I met a lot who aren't. Okay. It's a mental game. It's a mind game. There's no heart in it. I'm a heart homeopath. They both start with an H. Do we have a clue? Do we have a clue? And homeopathy starts with an H. I mean, hello. Let's just clear the decks and let's just get down to basics. Okay. So you felt different. And I told you I was going to do it because I didn't want to scare you. But everybody can do this. You don't have to be special to do this. You can do this and not be a homeopath. Okay? We all have the same equipment. We all have a heart. And if we have compassion and love, that is the most important and most powerful thing we have going for us. And when we love what we're doing and we send it to somebody else, good things happen, with or without a remedy. But a remedy sure can speed things up and really kick things into gear and get that vital force, totally locked in to what's going on instead of halfway because you're out of your body. And that's the biggest thing that ought to come out of this video is get your body, astral body, back into your physical. Please do the grounding. And I know that you're going to put it on your website, right? So people can come and get it for free.
Absolutely. I was just thinking, and Eileen is setting up her own YouTube channel, so this content will be available free of charge on her YouTube channel as well. So,
right.
But for the moment, just because we were trying to find a place to put this great resource, it'll be at eugeniekruger.com/Eileen, and we're going to create an Eileen corner there with all her freebies that she's going to share with you. But do check out her YouTube channel as well, which is where she's going to be sharing a lot of this free content with you as well. And I actually think that's such a beautiful place for us to kind of finish up with this message of get your astral body back into your physical body, and you're going to get your energy back. You're going to be able to manifest things easier, and you're going to be able to create greater change for yourself and the people around you. You're going to be able to be healthier, receive your homeopathic remedies better. There's really
less stressful,
all of the above.
Yeah, it is. It is. But don't believe a word I say. Go out and try it. Prove me wrong. I dare you.
Where would be the best places for people to get hold of your 200 odd books? I know you've got books on medical astrology. I mean, you've written the book on medical astrology. There are the homeopathic books, and you've created your own subgenre of romance called military romance because you were in the military yourself as well. And so there's so many, and your book, Walking the Land, there's the soul retrieval book that you wrote as well, which there was one of your books that I couldn't get in a hard copy over here. I had to only get in an ebook, but most of the others I could get in hard copy in Australia as well. So, which was really great that they get posted over here.
That's great. Yeah. If they like reading romance, which is about love, and that's where I'm at. I'm about the heart, and I'm about love and compassion. So writing romances is about love at its finest. And yes, there may be some sex in it, but we have many different stripes and layers of love other than sex, and that's also in there. Okay, I want to just get clear on that. But they can go to my lindsaymckenna.com, and that's LINDSAY, and then McKenna is McKenna.com, and you'll see all of my books. It goes on forever. But if you love romance, and if you really love two people falling in love, you will. My books, I will warn you, my books are shamanic romances. You can't pick up the book and there isn't something in there that will help to heal you. Or bring your attention to something that will help heal you. Because my intention when I write them is to make them shamanic and to connect with the person's heart and to help them with their shock or trauma. And it works. I've got hundreds of letters. I mean, with 23 million sold, I have lots of postcards and letters and even
No.
emails today, that the person in more or less words will say that the story changed my life.
Mm.
And that's the healing part of it. So being an author is a good thing too. If you're interested in walking the land, then it's walkingtheland.net. And that's where all Metaphysics 101 is at. And if you are really interested in metaphysics, that place is a treasure house of information. I mean, you'll learn a lot. But I'm going to be working with Eugenia on setting up some PowerPoint information, not only on my YouTube channel, but also on her website for her people. And again, it's free. On Metaphysics 101, on gem mystiques, because I love gemstones, I love rocks. We'll have one on astrology, and we'll have one on homeopathy. And so there's something there for everybody if you're interested in these particular fields. And but that's going to take all the rest of this year to actually, manifest, but we are going to manifest it, because I am tired of seeing so many people suffer when they do not need.
Yeah.
And
this is
I
the
would
time. I think you're saying astrologically as well. This is, this is the time to do it. And we are seeing homeopathic colleges are having record number of new subscribers, and there is really a homeopathic revolution. It's the perfect time at the moment. So many people are waking up, are asking questions, and your gifts that you're giving the world is just coming at the most perfect time.
They're desperate. They are so desperate for help. It's just at a phenomenal level. I have never seen it. That's why I'm getting out here. I mean, I've stayed low. Why do you think I have a pseudonym? I wanted a pseudonym because I wanted to have a life where I could make a difference with pain and suffering in people, which was my homeopathy, and also the shamanism and the medical astrology. So, that's why I don't give one penance to being famous. That's not going to buy anything, and that's not why I'm here, and this is not why I'm doing it. If I was after money, I would charge for it, but I'm not. It's free to everybody. You could pass it on to everybody you want, who you think will use it, and you'll help them. It's like the domino effect, and that's what I want you to do. And that's why it's going to be on Eugenia's website. And as soon as I get my channels up, we're working on it right now, they'll be available, and I will give her the URL. And if you want to come over and visit, that's fine. Some of them I'm going to send over to hers, because especially the Metaphysics 101, you're going to love those. And it's going to help all of you, if you're homeopaths, be better at what you do, and to understand the power that you have and how you can help them. Every client I can the grounding technique to say, do this. And when I see you in 30 days, let's see where you're at. And that's going to help.
Eileen, you are a very special soul, and I just thank my guides for bringing us together. I've been asking for you to come into my life for a long time, and it's this the most incredible, soul-filling experience to get to spend time with you and learn from you. Thank you so much for your time today, and I'm looking forward to our next sessions, and for our audience around the world to come on this journey with us and learn with us and expand their minds and share it with others and create an unstoppable revolution of people being empowered and being in their bodies.
Right. And with love, and treating themselves with love and care, and that they also deserve that too. And that is another thing that stress can't hit you with. So it's empowering yourself to be all that you can be. And it's a revolution.
It really is. Sending you so much love.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And I hope people got something out of it that they can use. Absolutely. Fingers crossed.
All the best.